Hello everybody, it is Reid from readaboutsex.com, creator of Sex Geek Summer Camp, the only 5-day summer camp devoted to teaching sex educators the business of being a sex educator. If you are a sex educator or a sex positive entrepreneur, or you want to be a sex educator, if you're somebody who wants to reach the world, reach more people with your message, and actually get paid for it and have a living and experience less frustration and worry in your life, and have more ease and joy at transforming people's lives, then this video is for you. And I am super excited because today's the day. You get to figure out if it's a good fit for you to join us in West Virginia for 5 days of geeking out and make sense of how to do the business of sex education and actually turn it into a career that pays you while you transform people's lives. If you're like me, you probably already had this rude awakening that sex education is not the career you pick if you would like to be wealthy. I, 10 years ago, had this rude awakening when I created a workshop called Cuddle Party. It was a communication workshop around touch and non-sexual affection that turned into a huge news story in 2004 because all of a sudden, New Yorkers were paying money to cuddle. And everyone wanted to cover that news story. All of a sudden, I was on Montel Williams. I was taping an episode for the Tyra Banks show. I had an interview with the Washington Post. Cuddle Party appeared in People magazine. CSI New York even wrote Cuddle Party into an episode of theirs. And I was in media all over the world in different languages, and all of my friends were emailing and calling me, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, Reid, you did it. You hit the jackpot. You must be rich." And truth was, I was burnt out, frustrated, and nearly broke. I was hustling so hard just to keep Cuddle Party afloat. I was working 3 other jobs. And I was realizing because Cuddle Party and its fame, I got to start hanging out with my sex education heroes and my relationship coaching role models. I was finding out that they were just as frustrated and confused and hustling even harder or as hard as me and just as broke for the most part. And I realized, oh my goodness, like, what have I done? Am I going to be able to continue my calling, answering my calling, or am I going to be doomed? And I was very lucky. I had some very close friends of mine who were very good at business in other industries, who loved Cuddle Party, who loved the relationship advice that they would come to me seeking out information for. And they sat me down and they said, "Reid, you need to master the business of doing business, or else you're not going to be able to survive, and you're going to have to quit being a sex educator, and we're going to lose your gifts in the world." And they were right. I was already feeling the frustration and the anxiety. I was 2 months behind in rent and trying to catch up. I didn't have money to go to the dentist. There were all these things about me, and I was filled with shame and frustration. I didn't feel like I was a grown-up at all because I couldn't get my life to work. And my loved ones and my family members were really concerned for me. They couldn't believe me. They saw how much I cared, but they really worried for my well-being. And it was because of my good friends who were already self-made millionaires and really good at business. They pointed me in the direction of really good business resources. And I wanted to be different. I wanted to make my career as a sex educator sustaining. I didn't want to be ashamed anymore that, I had no money in the bank and I was living month to month and ducking my landlord, for the rent and all that stuff. I wanted that to end. And so I took their advice, and as scared as I was, I dove into the world of learning more about business. And for the next 6 years, I would start challenging myself and forcing myself to go to these classes and make sense of what they were teaching. And along the way, I developed, the savvy to figure out, what was a good business course or seminar or program and what was one that really probably wasn't a good course. And I got better at picking courses that would help me more powerfully. I got better at figuring out what advice was cutting edge advice and not the old advice, from 10 years ago that wasn't working anymore. And as I started implementing and getting the courage and the bravery and the learning curve of decoding what they were teaching me and applying it, copy and pasting it to the sex education world, my business started to become more successful. And soon enough, I was able to quit all my other jobs and actually go pro full time. And for the last 6 years now, I've been making a living as a sex educator because something flipped. I had some aha moments and I figured out what I was doing wrong. And because I was hanging out with all these other sex educators, I could start to see what they were doing wrong or the things that they weren't even doing because no one had taught them the business stuff. And for the last 3 years, as I really started to make a good living and make more income, I started reinvesting. I was doubling down. The money I was making, I was putting back into education and learning more about business. I found better teachers, better educators around marketing and branding and pricing and sales and all the stuff that used to freak me out. And I had this huge aha moment. And everything really started to make sense. And I even started mentoring other sex educators to see if what was working for me would work for them. And the good news is, it is working for them. In the last 3 years, I've spent over $35,000 on investments around business courses and programs and really immersing myself and really geeking out. Taking the geek, that's the sex geek, and pointing it at business and breaking it all down and repackaging it so that it helps sex educators. And that meant I had $35,000 to spend on investing in business and helping other educators learn the things that I was learning and how to implement them easily and quickly. And I'm proud to say today, 10 years later, I can afford dental. I've got all my dental work done. I've got one more visit to go. I've rebuilt my credit, which was horrible from, all the not paying student loans and all the other stuff. My student loans are paid up. I have money in the bank in a retirement fund. It's easy for me now to negotiate contracts and all these other things that used to freak me out because I learned all these principles and applied them and integrated them into my life. And now, 10 years later, more than 50,000 people have attended my workshops or my lectures or workshops I've designed. I've had thousands of emails from people telling me how much my work has changed their lives. And people that are even, they saved their marriage or their relationship, or they're even teaching their kids how to be better at relationships and communication. And I also now have the testimonials from sex educators and how I've helped them and how the things that were so hard won for me now made their lives easier. And I really am up for the challenge of transforming the industry of sex education so that we can up-level it and that all of us can finally stop worrying and struggling and being so frustrated by taking really simple concepts, really powerful ways of looking at business and applying them to our own career space so that we can help more people. And my solution to all of this is creating Sex Geek Summer Camp so I can work with more educators and help you do what I've done and what I've helped other educators do. Because I'm in this delightful dilemma now of I'm so busy working on these other projects, I can't mentor people one-on-one anymore. And in the last year, I finally had the big aha moment, which allowed me to design an experience that will deliver all this information to you in a really powerful and fun way and keep the cost crazily low so that this camp is accessible to even the most broke of sex educators. And I hope what I'm about to show you is going to get you excited. And if you can't come to camp, then please share this with all of your friends and make sure they come to camp. But I think you're going to be able to come to camp with what I've been able to do. And I'm really happy and proud to share this with you. The big principles, because maybe some of you won't be able to come to camp, I still want to give you some useful information you can start applying to your career now. And I'm clever enough to weave this in. the stuff I'm going to show you is going to prep or preview the things that we're going to cover at camp. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, and we're going to work out in camp a lot, is giving you really like a sense of clarity in business and how to run a business in a way that doesn't freak you out, and how to choose the right kind of business model for you that's really in alignment with you. Because something that I want to say is I want you to date your business model, the business model that's right for you. Early on, I had a couple of friends of mine who were really good at business, but their business models were not a good fit for me. And they kept trying to help me in the best ways they could, but their business models just made me feel like everything was wrong. And I thought I was broken. I thought I was not good at business. I must be stupid. I felt a lot of business shame come up. And what I realized was I wasn't dating my species in a business model way. Kind of like when I advise people around dating, I'm like, date your species. You know, if you're monogamous and want to have kids, you have to date people who are also monogamous who also want to have kids, or else there's going to be all this friction and aggravation in your relationship from the get-go. A similar phenomenon happens in business. Are you picking the right business model and style of doing business that's congruent and authentic for you? And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to teach you, walk you through that, and show you ways so that you can be more clear in how business needs to happen for you, and some really powerful perspectives and tools that should be in all businesses, because there's some things that are, you know, like in all relationship styles, communication is a good thing. Clarity in communication is a great thing, regardless of your relationship style. There's some principles in business that are good for business, period, and I'll make them easy for you. The other thing that's going to be woven into camp, but you should also be doing this regardless of if you come to camp or not, take the time to get really clear, to gain clarity in the content that you're offering people, the advice and how you're doing the advice for people. There's a lot of really important tips and tools for you to figure out. Are you teaching people in your teaching styles that are the best teaching styles for you, and how that influences your content? I'm going to go into that in a second. When you start having clarity of content and clarity of business, it's way easier to take action. And if you're doing it right, it's way easier to have fun. A lot of my hesitation early on and things that took me years to implement, that if I had done it 10 years ago, I'd be making even more money and be more, reaching more people now. There are some really simple things that when you get clear on them, it's easier to take action. A lot of us hesitate because we don't have clarity. And we know now that taking action and adjusting your actions as you go are way more powerful in business and in life than being paralyzed with fear and taking no action. All right? A lot of us think that success is a bow and arrow kind of a thing. It's a straight line. It's not. You know, it's very much like sailing a ship. You have to keep adjusting your course and making corrections to get to where you want to go. Clarity in business and in content will help you do those things and achieve those things. The last piece, and this is woven all throughout camp, and this should be woven all throughout your life and your business, is being self-expressed. Are you being the teacher that you really are supposed to be? Are you living your life and being a role model for what's possible? Or are you trying to be some other version of an expert? I'm the big, goofy golden retriever on espresso of sex educators. Early business advice from some mentors that were the wrong mentors for me was that I needed to tone it down. I needed to be more, more authoritative, more, professional. And really, in today's economy, in today's world, transparency and authenticity are king. If you have good information and you're being real, people will trust you more. If you're, trying to be something that you're not, if you're trying to attract customers rather than being yourself, people's bullshit meter today, more than ever, are more sensitive and more honed than they've ever been. You trying to be somebody that you're not is probably costing you thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So a lot of what camp is going to be about is you being the best you that you can be and being vulnerable and being able to step into your fears and be courageous and be brave because you're role modeling for other people to be courageous and brave in their own relationships, in their own bedrooms. And this is kind of meta, but like you're a role model, not just an expert. And I'm going to teach you how to tap into all that stuff. Because when you start tapping into all that stuff, you become more authentically you and more self-expressed, so things become more fun. You still have to show up and do the work. Some of this is going to be hard work, but the work is rewarding and it feeds your soul. And that, as a geek, that gets me excited. We're going to work on teaching skills at camp. So even if you can't get to camp, hone your teaching skills. I've been taking lots of courses and geeking out on teaching skills and adult learning styles and how to create frameworks for your content. So when you get clear on your content and then create really pithy, easy ways for people to remember and integrate your content, you're seen as more of an expert. You're not just philosophizing, but you're giving people takeaways that they can take home and integrate into their life. Once you start learning these frameworks and how to be a better teacher, it's easier to create products out of the content that you have. And creating these products, and I'm going to show you different ways to look at creating products, those are potential revenue streams. Things that people, ways that people learn and ways that people ingest and digest information that you could charge money for if you want to. And those potential revenue streams, are you picking the revenue streams that are the easiest for you, the most aligned and congruent for your self-expression, or have you picked a bunch of revenue streams and are trying to create products that really aren't in your wheelhouse? If you start doing this as a sex educator in the beginning and you're creating all the wrong products and teaching, fuzzy content, you're not going to make a living. It's going to be really frustrating. And then that frustration is just going to end up in you being resentful and feeling ashamed. And then eventually we're going to lose your amazing work and gift to the world because you're going to be broke and you're going to have to, find another way to take care of yourself. Some revenue streams or ways to look at, products and services. Coaching programs. I'm going to teach you some of the most powerful coaching program formats so that you can design your own or just copy and paste the ones that I know are already working, either for me or for other sex educators. Are you considering workshops? Should you be teaching workshops? Maybe you're a blogger or doing other areas of things. Maybe you're a coach. Maybe you should be teaching workshops too. You could add that as a revenue stream if it's in your wheelhouse. And I'm also going to show you how to pull it into your wheelhouse. We're also going to talk about how to get butts in seats and market your workshops and get paid to teach workshops, because there's some easier ways to do that and some mistakes to avoid. Online courses. One of the big tipping points for me is I started creating online courses that people can purchase even while I'm asleep. They find out about me on social media, read some articles about me, maybe hear me in a podcast. I recommend a certain, product. They go to my store, they buy the product. Okay? I have people in Asia using my courses, and I've never met these people before. People all over the world are buying my courses, and that's helping me make money and pay for my life. Speaking gigs. Some of you are destined to be getting paid to speak. The ones of you who like, oh my God, don't put me in front of a crowd of people, you don't have to worry about it. There's a bunch of other ways you can make money. But for those of you who want to be paid to speak, there are ways to get paid to speak that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Things like colleges. How would you like to be speaking in front of college students? What do you have to do to position yourself so that it's easy for colleges to say yes? How do you market to colleges? How do you do your business so kick-ass that you don't market to colleges, they come to you anyway? I, for the most part, don't market to colleges. All the colleges I speak at, they emailed me first. I will show you how I pulled that off. And we'll also talk about pricing and how to charge and negotiate with colleges and stuff like that. Conferences and expos. Do you want to speak at conferences and expos? Do you even want to run your own conference and expo? We'll talk a little bit about the business of conferences and things like that. But more importantly, as a branding technique and as a way of reaching people and having them see you as an expert, how do you book conferences? How should you be thinking about that? And how do you make money off of your conference appearances, especially if they're not able to pay you to be there? Excuse me. Retreats. Do you want to be running your own retreats? Basically a workshop in an exotic location. What things should you be watching out for? More importantly, how would you like to teach at somebody else's retreat? A paid vacation to an exotic location where you get to show up and be an expert, maybe take a loved one or a friend to this exotic place, and then you get paid to be there. That sounds like fun. How about that as part of the way that you make a living? Podcasting, things like podcasting and vlogging, we'll talk about the ins and outs of those, how you should be using them if you want to be a podcaster or a vlogger, and how to get on other people's podcasts and make money, how to monetize being on other people's programs. There's a way to do that, and I figured it out, and I've taken the best practices from other industries and copy and pasted them over into sex education world. Books, blog writing, self-publishing versus traditional publishing. We're going to lay this stuff all out for you. For those of you who know my career, I haven't written a book yet. Okay? This is not in my wheelhouse, but I did some geeking out and I figured out the easiest way for somebody who's not a writer to write and publish a book. And I'll reveal all that stuff at Sex Geek Summer Camp. And for those of you who are writers, we're going to talk about better ways for you to promote and market and make more money as an author. Certification programs. Some of you might have content that is best serving the world if other people are teaching it. And one of the ways you can do is you can create a certification program that people will pay for so that you train them to run your workshops. Okay? I'm about to start doing this as part of my business. Okay? I already did it with Cuddle Party. It's the reason Cuddle Party is now being taught in 7 or 8 different countries and in different languages. This is because we certified facilitators to train them, and I'll show you how. Sponsorships. Another really interesting revenue stream that a lot of people don't understand. What do you have to know about your own business and content, and how do you need to talk to companies to see if they want to give you product or money or both to sponsor parts of your career or parts of your brand, products, things like that, events. We're going to talk about sponsorships because that's a revenue stream for some of you, and we're also going to talk about when not to use sponsorship. When you start getting all this revenue stream stuff together and you have your clarity in business, you start seeing, oh, okay, so I can create these products that are really, easy for me to create at first. And then, I can take action powerfully and I'm having fun making these products because my clarity of content is there. And that content is congruous and in integrity and authentic to you. It's in your self-expression. That is revealing your brand. Your brand, if it's you, Read About Sex is me, right? But Sex Geek Summer Camp is also a brand. And it's congruous to who I am. So it's authentic. All right? So this is all fitting together. So when people look at my career, it makes sense to them. And it builds trust and rapport and gets them excited about what else I'm creating. There's a way to create branding that is authentic to you so that you just being you is doing the marketing. So now whenever I make an appearance, whether it's on a podcast or on television, or I'm in a documentary, or I'm at a college, or I'm at a conference, or I'm just meeting somebody at a cocktail party, me being authentic is marketing my work. People are impressed with how grounded and present I am and how sure of myself. I'm still human. I still have insecure days. But if it comes to sex and relationships, I'm there. I know I'm an expert. that impresses people and makes people feel safe and makes people want to know more about me. And that kind of marketing, especially when you start transforming people's lives and they're telling people to check you out, that word of mouth marketing is the only thing more powerful than you marketing yourself by being a role model. And when you start to be able to figure out marketing, sales becomes so much easier. And there's some really great information out there on how to price and structure how you charge for things so that it's easy for people to say yes. And then all of your business, all of who you're doing and being becomes so much more fun and easy and so much less guesswork. Because if it feels right to you and you have the clarity to make it make sense business-wise, it's easy to be a yes. And it's easy to invite people to buy from you. The easiest way for you to get over your money weirdness and your sales weirdness is to come to Sex Geek Summer Camp and let me teach you how to do this in an authentic way and what sales approaches to use that are authentic and not pushy, so that everything you're doing is an invitation for people to go deeper. I'm teaching you here in this video some of the things you should be looking at in your own business, and then I'm inviting you to come go deeper with me and a bunch of other sex geeks at summer camp. This is a sales video, but it's not pushy, and I'm educating you at the same time. This is me being meta, and one of the secrets to how you can increase the reach of what you're doing and make people feel safe and transform more lives and get paid for it. We're going to talk about online technology stuff, all the tools that I think you should be using, tools from other industries that people are using that are making them successful to make your job easier so that you're having to work less hard and being able to automate more parts of your business so that just being a sex educator and being successful and growing your business is easier for you. You can automate things so you have more time to focus on creating new content, helping more people, and, dare I say, take a day off every once in a while. Wouldn't that be nice? And this is all possible. I never used to be able to have days off. Now I do. It's really fun to go away for a vacation and not have your business fall apart and still have your rent be paid and have health insurance and all that stuff and be saving money for retirement and for your kids or whatever else you need to do. This is all possible. And it's possible because I've spent the last 6 years and the last 3 years really focusing on what are the best business practices out there in other industries that we can copy and paste into the industry of sex education. I want to share all these things with you at camp so that marketing is easy for you, brings a smile, so that doing business is easy for you, brings a smile to your face. And you start thinking of your work as play. Because we've been working way too hard and not playing enough. And there's a way for you to merge everything so that your career is fun and rewarding and feeds your soul and your heart. And at camp, we're going to create peermanship. You're not going to feel so alone anymore. You're going to be surrounded by like-minded individuals who are also geeks about sex. And we will all together become geeks about business so that we can support each other and cheer each other on and hold each other accountable. You do not have to do this alone. You don't have to become successful in a vacuum. You can build friendships and business relationships that will last a lifetime and feed you deeply. I promise you this. So the way that Sex Geek Summer Camp is going to look, all right, because you're probably like, oh my God, Reid, how does it work? How does it work? Well, the design of it is basically, we're going to do 5 days together, all right? 5 days and 4 nights. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to make this as easy as I can for you to say, well, we'll jump ahead. I'm going to make this as easy as we can for you to say yes. I'm going to feed you. For your tuition at camp, okay, don't look at this yet. At your tuition at camp, all that stuff is included, okay? And the meals, the camping privileges, you can have a tent on site. We have a couple of RV slots if you can drive in with an RV. All the course materials will be included. The morning, afternoon, and evening sessions, we're gonna be working about 6 to 10 hours each day. Every day is going to be a little bit different. But there's going to be a lot of free time as well for you to enjoy yourself. Okay? Because remember, this is work and play, and we're going to work really hard. I need to give you some downtime so that you can integrate all the stuff that we're working on. For those of you who are really shy, we've already got some really fun evening events planned for you. So there's going to be more to do when you're not learning, so you don't feel alone. There's going to be lots of networking and friendships and bonding that's happening at camp. And time for you to relax as well. We need to relax in our world. Now, this is not the price of camp. This is the price of an average business seminar. For the last 3 years, I've been going to more than a dozen seminars, and then also digesting and ingesting online programs. But your average business seminar cost you like $19.97. But that's not all it costs you, because you have to stay at a hotel wherever it's being held, which is another, couple of $100. Usually for me, it's about $600. Maybe you could split a room with somebody if you're lucky enough. You have to eat while you're at that business seminar, 3 or 4 day event. Meals and whatnot. It's about $200. Maybe you could brown bag it. Who knows? But you're still pouring this money out, and then whatever travel money you need to spend to get there and to get back from home. There are the hidden costs. Like, you have to research, is this the right business seminar for me? How do I know? And what am I doing? And this or that, and the hedging and the worrying about if this is the right business seminar for you. I'm going to remove that. You don't have to research any further. If you are a sex educator or want to be a sex educator, this is the right seminar for you. It's designed specifically for sex geeks, in sex geek speak, so that you do not have to get your business or marketing decoder ring. I've translated it and decoded it for you, so you're going to save all that time. This is all going to be in sex geek speak. And then there's also the sexism tax. This is what I call when you go to an event where the people up on stage aren't geeks about language and inclusivity, and the frustration and the affront that you sometimes go through being offended by people using sexist language, non-inclusive, ableist language. There's not a lot of racism that goes on. People kind of figured that one out, but there's a lot of sexism and ableism and privilege going on that people aren't aware of, and ableism and body shame stuff. So I'm going to remove the sexism tax at camp because I'm aware of my white male privilege, and that I had the privilege of going to college, and the things about me just being me that I didn't earn that are helping promote and helping me be more successful. I'm aware of that, and I'm going to do my best as an educator to really use inclusive language and speak to you guys as in the best, most elevated way possible, so that we can all be better and then go out in the world and make the world itself a better place and a more inclusive place. So now you're probably, like, oh my God, Reid, like, how much is this going to cost? What's going to go on? Well, the one thing I do want to say is I'm going to save you 3 years and $35,000 worth of stuff. I'm going to remove the cost of getting it wrong. I'm going to show you, I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm going to show you in the 5 days as much as I can show you on how to get it right. And that is going to be my promise to you. And so when we start talking about cost, this is what it costs. And some of you are going to freak out because you're going to be like, Reid, how does this even work? To attend camp, it's $497. Okay? The button is live below the video. Click on the button and come to camp. No place else can you attend a business retreat and be fed and get camping privileges and s'mores All the free time stuff that we're going to do, you know, fire sing-alongs, campfire sing-alongs, the swimming holes that you get to swim in. We're going to do erotica reading night by the campfire, a Sex Geek talent show, s'mores for less than $100 a day. You want to click the button below and sign up and get your butt to camp. Now, some of you are going to be like, okay, but I'm a little bit, I don't know, is it really a good fit? Well, one of the reasons you might be worried is you don't really know me as a teacher. So with your tuition, when you pay your tuition, you will immediately get free bonuses, okay? These are business products I designed for sex educators specifically. $586 worth of bonuses that will give you an experience of me as a teacher before camp and also give you a head start. You'll learn how to start leveraging some social media and how to think in social media as a sex educator. I gave you my 4-week course that will teach you how I design workshops from start to finish. You could do that course before you get to camp and have a workshop already ready and show it to us and let us, look at it and I'll give you advice. But this will be the best way for me to show you if I'm the right teacher for you. I'm also got to include another bonus that'll talk about when you should give your services away for free and when you should be charging for it. All right? And those 3 things will let you know if I'm the right teacher for you or not. If I am not the right teacher for you or not, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked. Just email me and be like, Reid, I need a refund. If it's within 30 days, boom, done. If you're still worried, I have my at camp guarantee. All right? Come to camp, attend all of the sessions for the 5 days, and at the end of camp, walk up to me with integrity and say, Reid, thank you so much. You wasted my time. I learned nothing. Can I have my money back? And I was like, yep, give you your money back. So that's my camp guarantee. You can experience the entire event, and at the very end, if you're not satisfied, come up to me and tell me that, and I'll refund your money. This is the easiest way I can make it for you to say yes. I even thought of, how are you going to get to West Virginia? I created and chartered, I didn't create the bus, but I chartered a bus and created the Sex Geek bus. If you can get yourself to Dulles Airport by 5 p.m., we've got 44 tickets, 44 seats on a bus. Actually, it's 43 now because Monique Darling is going to be, your cruise director for the bus. She's going to check you guys in, and you get to ride with Monique Darling, who's an amazing sex educator and workshop leader, travels all over the country and Canada, makes a good living. She's going to bring you guys the 2.5-hour drive from Dulles Airport in Washington, D.C. to camp. You get to bond with your fellow sex geeks and start networking and having fun on the bus. And at the end of camp, the bus will take you back to Dulles Airport. But I only have 43 seats left on the bus, so hit the button below so that you get first crack at the tickets. When the tickets are sold out, the bus is sold out. Okay, you're going to have to figure out another way to get to camp, which I'm sure you can do. You can rent a car, drive your own car, parachute in if you need to. Whatever you need to do, I know you can get there, but this is the easiest way and the most inclusive way for me to get even the brokest of sex educators to Sex Geek Summer Camp. Mostly because I figured out the business design to be able to make this low of a price work as an event. And I'll even reveal that secret to you at camp. And to make it even easier for you to win at camp. If you get on the Sex Geek bus, you get a bonus night at camp. Because the camp starts on the 9th, the bus leaves on the 8th, because I want you to set up your camp or upgrade your room privileges to a cabin or to bunk beds and stuff like that. Which I'll give you more information when you sign up. But I want you to get a good night's sleep because on Saturday morning, we're going to start. And it's going to be amazing. And I want you already there because we start at 10 a.m. right after breakfast. So if you can get to camp on the after 6 p.m. on the 8th, get your butt there or get on the bus and we'll get your butt there. For those of you who are like, I can't do camping, dude, me, intense, we're not good friends. It's okay. We've got 80 slots for you to upgrade your room accommodations to cabins. You can reserve an entire cabin for your organization, or share rooms and bunk beds and things like that. We've got 80 opportunities for upgrades. The faster that you sign up, the sooner you get your information about upgrades. When everyone's upgraded, then we have no more room to upgrade you, and you have to tent then. But for tenting, that's one of the ways that we keep the price down. So this is all happening August 9th through 13th. If you are still freaked out by the $497, there's a second button below. That's for $1083. You can pay me more for camp, I'll take your money. But basically the $1083 is just $497 plus $586. And the only reason I'm doing this is I had a couple of people, when I told them the price, they got weird about it. And I want to remove that weirdness by allowing you to pay me more money if you need to. But right now, hit one of the two buttons below. I want to see you at camp. I want you to have the business and the career of being a sex educator feel fun and joyous and nutritious for you. I want you making more money and making a living so that you have a retirement fund. You know, you have health insurance and dental insurance. You have money in the bank. You can invest in, you know, your own education and more products, and creating and extending your reach and impact in the world. I want you to be able to change lives, and I want us as an industry to be more powerful and strong and healthy than ever. Please help me do that. Please be a part of that. Let's change the world together and make the world a more sex positive and pleasure positive place. Join me at Sex Geek Summer Camp. Hit the button below. I'll see you at camp. Hit the button below. Thank you.